I mean, I think we can start to open up slowly. It depends on the business. But also, if you look at what the guidelines were set out by the federal government, it's suggesting that states do that when we start to get on the downside of this curve. Right now, we've managed to flatten it, which is fantastic. But again, going too soon, it's going to go back up again.
Don't forget to smash that share button. Subscribe to my page. Follow me on Instagram at Lance Bachman, and keep sending me those questions. So let's just jump in this real fast. Shiloh, Dr. Shiloh, what are you seeing out there? Give us an update in Bucks County and Philadelphia surrounding five counties.
Thanks, Lance. I mean, what I'm seeing out there is I think people are being careful. They're adhering to the rules or the ideas that have been given out. There are a lot more people wearing masks when I go out. When people come to work or come to see me, they're wearing masks. So people are being a lot more careful. And that's helping us flatten this curve that we've been waiting for. And we need to continue to stay this course for a bit longer to basically make this stick so that this lasts for a much longer period of time.
Thank you. Dr. Luciano, I mean, you were talking earlier. I was confused. I read something saying Friday was the highest day of Bucks County being contaminated, certain percentage were, and you kind of explaining the why or what's going on. Can you kind of explain why we're still seeing an uptick, but we're really not seeing a true uptick?
Yeah, you got it. So, I think it's the numbers are all kind of, if they're taken out of context, they can be a little bit more worrisome. But I think what we talked about was mid-March, we were seeing like a 30% daily increase. First week of April, it went down to 20%, the second week 10%, and this week's about 5%, kind of flattening out. And I think those tests that came back on that Friday might have been from delayed holiday weekend. The tests don't come back instantly sometimes. So it's probably just, one of those numbers that was just a little skewed.
Dr. Shiloh, you came over, you gave me a test. I posted on social media. We were going to donate, which Dr. Luciano, thank God you said, hey, listen, let's check the legal ramifications because I can only imagine what that would have turned out into. That's besides the point. What was the actual test and what does it mean? And can you kind of explain to the viewers, because there was 300 plus comments on my wall that day, people going back and forth, and kind of explain to people, Dr. Shiloh?
Yes, Lance, thank you for asking. That test is the antibody test. So there are two major types of tests. One is to test people when they're acutely ill, you're sick, you're coughing, fever, etc. That's the nasal swab test. They put it in your nose. And there are some rapid tests like the Abbott test. You can come back 5-10 minutes. God willing, they're all that way. Others take almost a week, 5 to 7 days. You get your result back. In the meantime, you're at home quarantining. That's why there's a benefit to the immediate result so that you don't have to sit at home for a week if you're negative. This test tests people for their previous exposure. I've heard, and you've heard, a ton of people say, I was sick in February, sick in early March, and we're hearing maybe the virus was around a little earlier than we thought. And so a lot of people who are really sick are worried or would like to know whether or not they were sick with the virus. And so this is an antibody test. It's a simple finger prick, take a drop of blood, put a little buffer, a liquid on there, and you wait 5-10 minutes, and it's like a pregnancy test, shows you whether you have the antibody to the virus or not. And it's very simple and quick. And my personal belief is that is the test that's going to get this country really moving forward, because then we'll be able to tell if you've had it or not. And if you've had it, there's a strong probability that you're immune to the virus such that you won't get seriously ill if you get it again. So that's really the next step. And that's what's hopefully going to be able to be offered very, very soon at doctors' offices and wherever else you can get the test.
Can you see how people are confused out there? The beaches in Florida yesterday are jam-packed, right? And I'm driving to get my mom medicine. I'm putting gloves on, a mask. I got a white bag. There's so much information. Can you see why people are confused? I'm not asking you the political opinion, but can you see why people are confused?
I mean, I can. I think that, as Mike was pointing out and we discussed earlier, it is a moving target. The disease didn't come with a handbook. It came, and doctors or epidemiologists are learning about this thing literally minute to minute. Studies are coming out. There's doctors with a lot of experience, let's say New York, who are putting out their information for everybody else. So things are evolving. Clearly, Lance, I mean, I would ask you, why are you adhering to pretty strict guidelines? Because you're getting your information and you're a smart guy. You're evaluating what makes sense and what doesn't. And what makes sense right now is to continue what you're doing, which is to be cautious. And over time, things will reopen. We're really getting to the plateau and starting to come down. And we need to continue a bit longer, and it will help everybody in the long run. And like you said, use common sense. If someone tells you that you can go to the gym, we both know, and that maybe that's not the best idea.
Well, and the one thing I know is I know numbers. I live in numbers on my businesses. I love data, and I don't care what anyone says. The social distancing helped our healthcare system not get overran and saved a lot of lives. They're saying we can reopen now, right? They're saying phase 1, let's start rolling it out. Some people just jumped right to what phase 3 it looked like down in Florida. I mean, right? Just pull right back to it. Do you agree with opening up slowly right now from not a political view, just from your own views? Because I'm curious to it. Dr. Shiloh, go first. Do you believe businesses should be able to open up slowly and take precautions and do some common sense things, or do you think no, still quarantine?
I mean, I think we can start to open up slowly. It depends on the business. But also, if you look at what the guidelines were set out by the federal government, it's suggesting that states do that when we start to get on the downside of this curve. Right now, we've managed to flatten it, which is fantastic. But again, going too soon, it's going to go back up again. So you're supposed to restart as you start to decline, and then use common sense to what's reopened. I totally agree with that. People want to be open. People want to be able to go back to do certain things that they can. And I agree that it should slowly reopen. And again, it's all going to be local. What works in Bucks County may not work in Palm Beach in Florida or work in Dallas, Texas.
Well, I think that reopening is going to be a necessity, but there's a smart approach to it. Methodically, the testing is going to be a huge part of that. Hopefully it becomes more prevalent and more validated.
Well, I want to thank you both on the thing. You heard it from them. They're moving their business forward. I hope you get the PPP for your other company also, Dr. Luciano, because no one deserves it more than you. I know how hard you work to build your business. So does everyone else out there. And we're going to be having the president of a few banks on the bend this week and discussing this topic. Dr. Shiloh, Dr. Luciano, thank you guys. Enjoy your Sunday. And you have a lot of things going on. I appreciate it, both of you.
Stay positive, and hopefully very soon we'll go back to some semblance of normalcy.
I always like to try to put a positive spin on things if there is one, and there is one. I mean, we have done this as a community, as a nation, to flatten the curve. I mean, things have come down, so it could have been astronomically worse. So that's the positive. Now we have to be cognizant of why that is and how we can continue with those efforts in this balancing act that will come in the future. So, I think that people are good at heart and they'll continue if they have the right information to protect themselves and their neighbor.